Come on in, y'all. My name's Tasha Scott. For those of you all who don't know me, I am a coach, a speaker, a trainer, workshop facilitator, all those things. But today I am sharing a message on the gift of goodbye. And y'all, when I read this book, I was like, oh my gosh, this woman has been stalking my life because I'm serious. Everything in there, I was like, she gets me. She actually gets me. I am here. Yes, I give myself permission. I want to read something to you that I read from John Maxwell. And it says this: you are responsible for your life, and your ultimate success depends on the choices that you make. Years ago, this is what John Maxwell says. Years ago, I determined that while others might see themselves as victims, I would not. While others might see themselves as failed, I'm sorry, can you read my writing? While others would leave their future in someone else's hands, I will not. While others simply go through life, I will grow through it. That is my choice, and I will surrender it to no one. Isn't that powerful? One of the things that I have learned in this gift of goodbye is the power of choice. And I'm going to repeat what I just said. He said, years ago, I determined that while others might see themselves as victims, I would not. While others will leave their future in someone else's hands, I will not. While others will simply go through life, I will grow through it. That is my choice, and I will surrender to it. I will surrender it to no one. Life is a series of choices, y'all. It's a choice of addition, it's a choice of subtraction, and it's a choice of exchanging. And the wisdom is in knowing the difference, so that as we grow through life, it's a constant exchange, it's a constant subtraction, it's a constant addition. What is the gift of goodbye? Ultimately, I think it's when we are given the gift of goodbye, we're also handed growth in our potential. And some of that growth, I would even venture to say all of that growth, we will not be able to see until we have said goodbye to something. Now, the goodbye that I'm talking about today, I'm talking about the goodbye when you know that there's been a desire in you to improve or to progress in an area. And if I'm talking to you, I do need y'all to talk back to me because I want to make sure I'm talking to the right people. You know there's been a desire in you for more. You know that there's been a desire for you to progress in an area. And you know what that area is. And even God himself has put desires in you. He has even surrounded you with people to confirm this is for you. This is part of your purpose. This is part of your destiny, right? But sometimes in those moments, we hold on to the comfort zone because when we get those desires, even God-given desires, y'all, hear me. Sometimes when we get those desires, we hold on to the comfort of the now. Hello, am I talking to anybody yet? We hold on to the comfort of the now because on the other side, all we see is uncertainty. But it's in facing the uncertainty and moving in that direction by saying goodbye to the comfort zone that we'll never see the gift of our next level of potential. It won't even be shown to us until we have properly said goodbye. And we're the only ones that can say goodbye. So the comfort zone is comfortable because maybe we've achieved success there. Maybe people have even been applauding us there. And people are now coming to you saying, can you teach me this? Can you show me how to do this? Because you've mastered that. And for you to say goodbye will look foolish because it's a good thing. It's a good place, right? But you know, nobody else knows, and God knows that there is more in you. And you won't be able to see the more until you said goodbye to the good stuff in the now. So the gift, the real gift, is our next level potential. Opportunities for growth are all around us. And remember, I said that life is a series of additions, subtractions, and exchanges. The wisdom is in knowing the difference and knowing when. I don't know for my life if I learned this because my dad was military and we moved around a lot. So I didn't really grow up really attached to people a lot or attached to things because being a military brat, we moved a lot. I don't think I was in one school more than 2 years. And I think the smallest amount of time that I was in one school was 6 months. And so it was constantly saying goodbye, saying hello, saying goodbye, saying hello. That was constant. So I don't know if I learned early that I don't need to get too attached to things. And there's a balance in what I'm about to say, but hear me, this context that I'm talking about right now is when God is calling you to more. And you know that you have to, if it's either stay here and die, and the death is not a physical death, but it's death in potential, it's death in desires, it's death in dreams, it's death in relationships. Does that make sense? Stay here or embrace the more. And so what I've learned in the gift of goodbye is that you cannot be too attached to things because this life is a journey, y'all. And God is elevating us and he is taking us higher. But if we are so attached to the success and the victories of now, we will never be able to embrace where he's trying to take us. Come on, y'all. I hope I'm making sense. So because opportunities for growth are all around us, the question is, will you reach your potential if you stay on the current track that you're on right now? Like, think about your life. And this is a great time of year to think about it. Will you reach your true potential if you stayed on the current track that you are right now? I'm going to go to the comments. Hey, Miss Debbie. Debbie says, preach it, sister. Tyra says, goodbye comfort zone. Donna says, but it's a false safe place. Yeah, that's true, Donna. Tanya says, you better say that. Kim says, thinking I'm gonna look crazy. Yeah. Debbie says, I love more. Yeah. So that's the thing, y'all. You may not need to answer it in this comment, but you do need to answer it. Will you reach your true potential if you stay on your current track? And that means you have to look at every area of your life, every area. And the other question is, what do you have to give up in order to grow up? Some of the things we have to give up are good things. And that's the hard part. It's hard because it's good. We know how to get rid of stuff sometimes. Sometimes we know how to give up stuff that's bad or that's failing. But what about the good stuff that's not serving us anymore? They're not serving the next level. They're not serving the potential. They're good, but good can sometimes be a distraction if you're going to reach that maximum level of potential that I'm talking about. So let me talk about in my own personal life, there's been some goodbyes that I've had to make that in the moment were inconvenient. In the moment, it was hard because it was good. It was. So I'm going to talk about some previous years, but then I'm going to also talk about some goodbyes that I've had to make this year. So one of the most pivotal goodbyes that I had to make was in 2004. I was in court reporting school. Well, actually, yeah, I was in court reporting school. I was going at night, working full-time as a paralegal. And I knew the job that I was working at, I had reached the height of capacity. Like there was no more elevation. There was no more growth. I knew that this was it in this career field as a paralegal at that time. But there was a desire that was planted in me. I would even venture to say, even when I was 13, when I had my first business as a paper route, with a paper route, this desire came back, and it started first as a little, I wonder about this. And then it started becoming stronger where I couldn't deny it. And the desire started growing more and more to the point where I knew that I could not stay in this job anymore. While I was in court reporting school, I knew that I had to make a shift. The shift looked like this. I flip-flopped it. So I decided to go to school full-time during the day and shift from full-time employment to part-time employment. Now, the paralegal job was good. I had good benefits. I had good bosses that I was working for. I had people applauding me saying, man, you're doing so well. You're doing so good. But I knew there was a desire for more. So I didn't jump into entrepreneurship. I crawled into it, and that's how I did it. So making that shift where I said goodbye to, in that way, opened up the opportunity for me to do more while I was going through school, helped me to focus, helped me to get out of school. The next phase of that shift looked like this. Once I graduated school, I became a court reporter, and I was able to make enough money to replace the full-time job. So that when I went into the full-time job, I was able to say goodbye to full-time employment. And I have been a full-time entrepreneur for 16 years now. And I haven't looked back, but it was in me having to say goodbye to the comfort zone of a full-time job with benefits and a good salary. I didn't know there was the uncertainty in making that shift, y'all. I didn't have the certainty that I was going to succeed. It started with a desire that was fueled by faith, and it took a lot of prayer. I'm not going to lie, a lot of communication, because I am married. So with my husband, so there was a shift that had to take place. I had to say goodbye to the comfort zone in order to embrace the possibilities. And here I am 16 years later with no regrets for that decision that I made. That was one shift that I had, or one goodbye. Another goodbye came 10 years later in 2014, where I was at a place as a full-time entrepreneur where I hit a wall. That was like rock bottom for me that year, because yes, I went from my dream of being an entrepreneur to where my personal life was literally falling apart. The business was the constant in that. And so I had to make some strong decisions if I was going to get over that rock bottom season in my life. So the other goodbye that was a crucial goodbye for me was I had to say goodbye to limitations. These were the things that were limiting me. Unforgiveness was limiting me. Pride, shame from my past, shame from the pain of the situation that I was in. Being a slave to people's opinions, being a people pleaser, limitations was covering all of that. And I had to say goodbye to that in order to really get to know the real me. That was a pivotal shift right then, because when I said goodbye to limitations, what that looked like was, okay, I can't stay here anymore. I cannot live like this anymore. And I literally had to take my power back from all of those things that I just described, because it was suffocating me. So saying goodbye meant that I had to say hello to getting help. And that's the only thing that I knew to do in that time, was I have to end this. Yes, I feel like God was more in control than I realized, but the power of choice was mine to make. Are y'all hearing me? So I had to say goodbye to all of those things. The only thing I knew to do was to get help, because the only thing that I knew was I want to be free. And I don't want to live like this anymore. So I had to say goodbye. But here's the gift that was waiting for me on the other side of taking the step to get help. That was the birth of the movement that created Coach Tasha, Speaker Tasha. That was the shift. That was the gift in saying goodbye to all of those things. And y'all, my life has not been the same since. And that was almost 5 years ago. This year, I had to say some more goodbyes to some good stuff. Remember what I told y'all, life is a series of additions, exchanges, and subtractions. I think it's healthy for us to constantly assess our life. It's called pruning. I think it's healthy for us to constantly assess our lives, because remember I talked about the attachments? When we try to attach to good things and bad things, we deprive ourselves of the gift of the goodbye, which is the gift of potential to our next level. So this year, I had to say goodbye. And the higher you go in your potential, the harder the goodbyes become. Did y'all just hear me? The deeper you go on the journey, the higher you go in your potential, the harder the goodbyes come. So I thought 5 years ago was the thing. I thought, well, when I say hello to this, life is going to be, whatever. But it's addition, subtraction, and exchanges. So last year, I started wrestling with this business, which was something I believe I prayed for. And that was Scott Real-Time Reporting. That was the court reporting business. That was the business that helped me to get out of full-time entrepreneurship. That was the business that was the constant, even in the midst of life, personal changes going on. That was the business that I was able to hit 6 figures consistently. I would say probably 14 out of the 16 years. And the 2 years that I wasn't, that was in the beginning stages. That wasn't in the now. That was the business where I had a team of people surrounding me, subcontractors, virtual assistant. It was my niche in the industry. But let me tell you what happened. The shift started happening when I started realizing that I am really comfortable here. Like this, it's not much of a stretch anymore. And I know this is I hope you hear my heart when I say this. It's not much of a stretch anymore for me to go get business. It doesn't really require faith for me to do this. This is comfortable. There's no challenge anymore. There's no growth anymore. Yeah, it's making money, but is that enough? Are y'all hearing me? So then I started losing the desire to be in the business. I started having attitude problems when the jobs were coming and people were calling me, trying to give me money, trying to give me work. But I started having an attitude problem and being really irritated working the business. The business started becoming more of a job than it was about making a difference. And the only reason why I stayed in the business was for the money. But something in me was saying, this is not fulfilling anymore. This is not stretching me anymore. It's not growing me anymore. And so I had to pay attention to that, because at the same time, while I was over here in this six-figure business, remember I said 5 years ago, I said hello to the movement of becoming a speaker, trainer, coach. Well, that business was simultaneous with Scott Realtime for the past almost 5 years, and it was a part-time business. My speaker, trainer, coach business has been a part-time business. Scott Realtime Reporting was my full-time moneymaker business. But I found myself becoming more alive when I was doing the speaking, coaching, and training. That's when Tasha showed up. That's when I was all in. And yeah, it was my choice. But I started paying attention. Now I felt divided in my time, divided in my interests, divided in what I really felt like my true purpose and calling in life was. And it was hard because this business was making money. I want y'all to hear this. The part-time business, yes, I was starting to build attraction and get paid and being paid as a speaker. I had coaching clients, workshops. I was doing live events. And yes, money was coming in. But if I had to look at it on the books, it didn't make sense for me to say, I no longer want to do this anymore because my heart is all in over here. So I had one client that with this one client, the business was 6 figures. So I made a decision this year. I will not be divided anymore. I looked at my vision board. I prayed. I talked to my husband. I communicated. And I made the decision this year. I'm going all in. And my decision was a decision of faith, because I said, God, I surrender all. And at the end of the day, it's not about the applause or the money over here. It's about purpose. And I'm surrendering to purpose. So I made the decision with this one client. I had several clients, but this one client was the one who literally tilted the business over into the 6 figures. I created my email to them to say that I will not be renewing my contract. And y'all, when I pressed send on that, it was like the nail in the coffin. It was like me setting fire to a road and a path that was 16 years old. Okay? And I said goodbye by putting the nail in the coffin. And then I knew I had to do it with the other clients as well. With the uncertainty that I would be able to make it over here, because all I had over here in the other business was desire and faith and peace. And it wasn't that I wasn't making money over here. I was, but it didn't match what I was making over here. But when I said goodbye, let me tell you about the gift that came. Let me tell you about the hellos. When I said goodbye, after I did the act, one of my contracts for maximized growth doubled after I said goodbye. After I said goodbye, clientele increased. My coaching clients increased. Speaking engagements, and I'm talking paid stuff, y'all, increased. There was a greater confidence that I had on the inside. There was a greater peace. There was a greater clarity. Potential, y'all, potential exploded because even my mindset shifted for all of the things that this part-time business could become after I said goodbye. Let me tell you about another goodbye, and then I want to go to the comments. Another goodbye I had to make was Ladies Who Lunch. 3 years ago, I created this networking event for Ladies Who Lunch, and it was a great thing, great thing. Every month, there was a different guest speaker. Every month, there was new people that I got an opportunity to meet, and old people that I got a chance to connect and reconnect with. It was beautiful. Started with 5 people, and then this last one ended, I think there was maybe about 25, 30 people, but it was a consistent ebb and flow of women coming into this networking event, and it was a good thing. And I remember September was the month that I put the nail in the coffin for Scott Real Time, but it was also the month that I made the announcement that I was not going to continue with Ladies Who Lunch. And I remember when I made that announcement, it was a lot of women in that room that day. And I know I looked crazy standing up there saying, we're not going to do this anymore, because even some of the women were like, but I just got here. Like, why? This is so good. I look forward to coming. I even had women coming to me saying, Tasha, because of these Ladies Who Lunches, I've come out of my shell. Because of these Ladies Who Lunches, I've had one woman come up to me and say she got a job because of it. I had women come up to me and say that they've made, like, I'm thinking about 2 ladies now that have become literally best friends as a result of meeting there. So there was some good stuff coming out of it. Even at the last one, I ended up getting a coaching client from the last one. So it was a good thing. But I felt like in the inside, that shift, I felt like that desire came back again for there's more. Like, this is good, but there's more. And I'm starting to recognize that God speaks through desires. And he even said in his word, I will give you the desires of your heart. But it's when our heart is, I believe when we are connected to him, he puts those desires and he takes away desires. So I said goodbye to Ladies Who Lunch. The next day, not even the next week, y'all, because this was just last week. The next day when I said goodbye to Ladies Who Lunch, I got a sponsor for an upcoming workshop that I'm doing who came on board and said, Tasha, I want to provide food for free for this workshop. I got a speaking engagement, not 1, but 2. I got 2 speaking engagements as a result of that. This week alone, I have booked 4 individual coaching clients. What I'm trying to tell y'all is that some goodbyes are necessary, because if we don't say goodbye, we won't experience the greater of what God wants to put into our hands. What if I would have held on trying to please people, trying to hold on and ignore the shift that was taking place in my spirit? And I don't believe that's it, y'all. I just believe that God himself was winking in my direction saying, I got you. Keep saying yes to me, Tasha. Keep adding, keep subtracting, keep exchanging. I feel more comfortable, more peaceful. And when I say comfortable, I don't mean in a good way. I mean, I'm comfortable in my uncomfortableness. Other things that have happened as a result of me saying goodbye, those are just some shifts that I've had to make personally. Again, I got a opportunity to do a show, Connected Women Win, which is a result of me saying goodbye to Ladies Who Lunch. And now where I was able to promote 1 woman a month, now I get to promote 4 in 1 month. I am embracing new team members. Like, I have Ashley, who's been amazing working with me as a virtual assistant. In January, I have some new team members that are going to be working with me, social media. One of them reached out to me, is going to be doing copywriting and stuff. Like, team members have increased. I'm moving into a new office space where I don't have to have the overhead of the office. I am actually moving into a local attorney's office where I get to rent a room in her office. So I don't have the overhead. I just have my little room, my space, where it'll give me an opportunity to do more shifts and do more work. So I'm moving in the direction of my increased potential, increased relationships. Like I have some of the relationships that I have and I don't play with are my marriage, my child, and my inner circle. Like I don't play with those relationships. And those I don't think have to always be posted on Facebook or social media. Like I don't play with that, but I felt in such an increased or an improvement in my relationship. So those are some things that I said hello to this year as a result of saying goodbye. So I'm going to ask this question after you've heard mine, and I'm going to go to the thing. Will you reach your potential if you stay on your current track? What do you have to give up this year in order to grow up? Let me go because I see y'all blowing this up. I love it. I love this interaction. So let me go back because I want to read these comments. Tyra, are you saying giving up ice cream? Donna says the struggle is real. Hey, Danella. Valletta says watching with you. Angie says that's where I'm at. Kim says this. Donna says in that very place right now. Shamitria says this is confirmation for me. Angie's in Walmart line listening to me right now. Debbie says love all that you're sharing with us. Tanya says the choice. Yes, Tanya. Yes, the choice was mine to make. I'm glad you said that because that's part of the goodbye. It's owning. Like the choice of goodbye is mine to make, but I get to choose. Because when I get to choose, I don't have to stay in a place of stuckness. And I believe I stayed in places of stuckness because I gave my power away to other things and other people, thinking they had to make the choice for me. And that was where that victim mentality from me came. But that's the power of goodbye is I get to say goodbye to things, but I also get to say yes to my potential, yes to the purpose on this journey. And the choice is mine to make. And I believe God is sitting back saying, you choose. Like even the visions and the dreams that he gives us, he downloads to us, we still have to be a willing participant. So yes, Tanya. Kayla says passion will make you feel fulfilled. Debbie says, Tasha, you're a pro. You will continue to grow because you want it bad and you have the passion. Must love what you do to achieve your desires. Congratulations. Thank you. Yes, I see international too. Angie says surrender to purpose. Yes, that's it right there. It's the surrendering, but I also got to know that in the surrender that it's me surrendering to God's will for my life. Like this is not me trying to be in control, because that's the thing. That's what made me want to not say goodbye to things, because it was me trying to be in control, me trying to I can't say it any better. Me trying to be in control. Sarah says, I want to watch later. Please do, Sarah. Tanya says, powerful. Tyra says, sacrifice, new mind. God speaks through our desires. Yes. The morning after. Let me tell y'all something. Yes, Ashley, that morning after, that's the thing that you don't know on the before you say goodbye. That's the uncertainty. Some people, I think your mindset shift just needs to be in the fact that the uncertainty is not a bad place. That's where your faith is fueled even more, because the uncertainty says, I may not know what's on the other side of that door, but while I'm in this hallway, I'm going to praise God, I'm going to trust God, and I'm going to believe that whatever is waiting for me on the other side, it's good. Because he's good. There is more. Yes. Kayla says, child, it's necessary in spite of. Kim says, keep leaning, keep listening. Charmaine, you definitely have to go back and watch the first part. Please do. Yes. So The other nugget is the gift of goodbye. Like I said, the true gift of goodbye is the next level of potential that's waiting for you on the other side. John Maxwell says, be more motivated by the possibility of success than the fear of failure. What if you could learn to just get out of your own way and not look at the negative part of what if, but look at the positive part of what if, and be motivated by the success, the possibilities of what could be, of who you could become, not be reminded by your past failures. Because let me tell y'all something, in all of what I shared with y'all, there also was a series of failures. There was. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. There were times that I missed it. There were times that I got it wrong. But I'm not dwelling on those things. I'm dwelling on the choices that I made to get it right. And at any point in time when my back was up against the wall, yeah, I may have had a momentary meltdown or whatever, and some meltdowns lasted longer than other. But at the end of the day, my choice, I still get to choose, and I still choose the possibilities over the failures. What will it take for you to go to your next level and your potential? Like literally, what is it going to take for you? What is it going to take for you to get out of your comfort zone? The comfort zone is not always a bad place. So hear my heart when I say this. Now, here's the other thing. There's some trade-offs that I'm not willing to make. Like I'm not going to sacrifice my family for the success of my business. I'm not going to sacrifice my character. I'm not going to sacrifice certain things. So there's some things that I just, there's no compromise there for me. But there are some things, and you know, I don't even have to tell you, you know, you're sitting on the other side of this. You know what it is in your life. It may be one thing, but that one thing may be the very thing that changes the trajectory of your life to where your whole world changes because of that one thing. Look at it through the possibility lens. Letting go of things that you love and value the most in exchange for God's greater in your life. Daddy knows best. When it comes to relationships, that's the thing though. Like there may be no compromise, but I did have to change the way that I functioned in relationships. Okay. Jonah asked a question. She says, did you have a plan, or did you have a certain amount saved up, or was it just a total leap of faith? I assume you're asking in the business. So with the first step that I took towards entrepreneurship, Jonah, I didn't just go cold turkey. Let me just say this. My plan was I want to work my way out of a job. So I didn't go cold turkey. That was with Scott Real-Time Reporting. So that's why I worked part-time first. Then when I worked part-time, when my part-time thing was bringing in more money than my full-time business, then I made the transition or made the shift. That was back then. This year, what I would say is it was different. The shift for me this year wasn't just a total leap of faith, totally, because I did have some income coming in for maximized growth. So the difference this year was it wasn't that it was it wasn't six-figure business, but what I saw this year was I have a cushion, and the cushion, what I mean by that is it was a base for me. And I knew that I could take this base and grow more with it. I hope that answers your question, Jonah. And if anybody else has any questions, please ask them. Kayla says, can you share strategies of how to release the worries of the uncertainty and how to get connected to know when God is speaking? Very good question. So strategies for me was, one, I could not do this on my own, Kayla. That's where back in 2014, when I had to say goodbye to limitations, that strategy was I had a life coach / counselor, and it was somebody that was able to walk me through the process because I didn't know what I didn't know. and I couldn't do it on my own. So what I would always say is find you somebody who is further along, further down the road, that can be that help for you, to help you see the blinders, help you see what you can't see. So for me, it was a life coach counselor. For others, it might be a friend, it might be a spouse, it might be an accountability partner, it might just be somebody that can help bring you out, or not even bring you out, but pull you up. I think that's the thing. So that was my strategy, is I found somebody who had been there, done that, and helped let them walk me through that process of the uncertainty, because the uncertainty was scary. It was messy. But the other part of your question is how to get connected to know when God is speaking. There's a resource by Joyce Meyer about how to hear the voice of God. One of the things that I always was taught, especially reading her book, is in doing it afraid, you have to pay attention. We call it the Holy Spirit. You have to pay attention to that still small voice that's in you. And the way that you know that God is speaking in the bigger things is that you're faithful in the little things. And you literally can pray this prayer: God, help me to learn how to hear from you. I mentioned the resource. Of course, there's the word, but I mentioned that resource because she does mention some practical things. But this one nugget I'll share is pray and say, God, help me to hear your voice. Help me to be obedient in the things that you're calling me to. And what he'll do is he'll start with the very little things. It might be something like when you're walking outside and he'll say, pick up that trash that you see. That's something really little. Or it might be something that he'll say, like, make up your bed. And when you can learn to be obedient in the little things and be faithful in the little things, I think that's what builds that muscle for when the big leaps or the big moves come. You'll be so familiar with his voice because you've mastered the little things. Kayla, I hope that answers your question. Let me see who else. Okay, Tyra says, my probably is trying to do everything myself. Yeah, so in your case, Tyra, the first thing that I would say is once you've written down the vision of what you know, then you say, who can help me to get to this next level? And I always say accountability partners, friends, mentors. It may even be just a resource, a book that you're reading. You know, sometimes that is nuggets right there, wisdom. But what you need to do is you need to immerse yourself. Once you know the direction of your dreams, you've got to immerse yourself with all the resources and surround yourself with people who are currently doing it. And don't think too small and don't think too high when it comes to that. And that's going to help you not to do things yourself. Phyllis says accountability is key. Absolutely. Accountability is everything. Again, once I learned that lesson in 2014, getting my first support team person, and that was the life coach counselor, I will never, ever be without some kind of support system. And that support system, the mentors and the coaches, whether I'm reading their books or whether I'm sitting in a session with them, they challenge me to come up higher. They elevate my mindset. And there might be times where I might be in a room full of people where I'm nervous because my mind is going to say, well, you don't belong here. But I have to say, shut up. I'm learning. I'm growing. And I always make sure that I don't like to get too comfortable. That's why I remember at the very beginning, I talked about the attachments. I always have to do the pruning process. And this is a good time of year to do the pruning process, because that's where you say what needs to be added, what needs to be subtracted, what needs to be exchanged. Like, is this serving me anymore? So Scott Real-Time Reporting was not serving the Tasha that I'm becoming. So what is serving you right now what is in your life right now that's not serving where you're going? Because whatever that is, it may be an exchange, it may be a subtraction, it may just be a goodbye, you know? Digging deeper, like for me, I'm digging deeper into my area of expertise. What does that mean? I am digging deeper into personal growth and leadership development. That's what I'm digging deeper into. And so there's some necessary shifts that I have to make in order to become all that God is calling me to be. And it's not about the arrival as much as it is about the journey of becoming more. So I heard this at a conference one day earlier this year: give faith a job. So are you being stretched in your faith? Are you? Or are you doing things that you're like, oh, I got this? Well, it doesn't even require God anymore because you know this. No, I don't ever want to be in that place where I get to a place where I think I don't need my faith to be stretched. Um, Candace says the pruning process is so necessary. Yeah. I even do that with my coaching clients now. There's a group that I mentor, and I'm always asking what's working, what's not working, where do you need help? Constantly evolving. So I so appreciate y'all for being on this journey for this live stream. How many of y'all would want to hear more about this? Are there questions that you have that you want to dig deeper into these processes? Because some of these questions that y'all asked me today, I'm like, yeah, we need to dig deeper, because I don't feel like a lot of times you hear this side of it. You hear the hustle, go hard, go, do it. But what about what's happening on the inside of you while you're doing it? The messy middle, once you make a decision to when you get to that actual place. We don't talk enough about the goodbyes that we need to make in the process, that some of those goodbyes, they're God goodbyes. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Because in doing the God goodbyes, you grow, you stretch, you become more, and you become more effective. And that's my goal. I posted on Facebook the other day. I don't want to just be busy. I don't want to be just stressed out, strung out, being a slave to a business, slave to this life. I'm done with that. I am so done with that. I want to be effective. I want to know that my life made a difference in the person I met in the grocery store, to the person that I'm coaching, to the person sitting in the audience. I want to be effective. I am tired of wearing the busy badge. It ain't about that. It's about me and you being everything that we were created to be, but we just need to be more strategic. And at being more strategic, there's some goodbyes that have to be done. She says, that's good. I've learned to ask that as well. Is this serving me and adding to my purpose? Indeed. So one of the things that I'm doing this year, or this coming year, different, is now that I'm not doing Ladies Who Lunch, I'm actually going to be doing more in-person workshops. I'll be doing online trainings as well, because I've been doing those, but I'm going to be doing more in-person workshops. So I actually am going to be doing 4 this coming year, and they're quarterly workshops, and it's all in line with the theme of maximize your existence. If you're interested in, I'll put the link in here, and learning more about what that looks like, because my goal is I want to walk alongside women and be that help for them, just like somebody was that help for me to help me walk into greater potential and greater purpose. That's what I am bound to do. That's why I want to be an expert in personal growth and leadership development. I am passionate about helping, especially women, give birth to what's already in them. So I feel like it's like being a spiritual midwife. I didn't give you the dream. I didn't give you the goals. I didn't give you all of that. I feel like God put that in you, but sometimes we need help. And I want to be a part of the solution and what that looks like for women. And so part of that is doing these in-person workshops called Maximize Your Existence, where we literally will come together and we'll flesh out all of what I'm talking about today, knowing what to say goodbye to, knowing how to embrace your hellos, knowing how to build that support team, knowing how to take the visions and the dreams that God has implanted in you and literally translate those into written goals and action steps. That's what these workshops are going to represent. And yes, I'll be doing them online as well, but I posted the link in here. If you're interested in being a part of that, again, I'm doing this 4 times, and I believe in 90-day goals. So you'll have an opportunity to have 90-day plans and experience quicker wins, and actually be able to experience quicker goodbyes so that you can embrace those hellos, right? So that's what I'm doing for this coming year. It's part of what I'm doing. I'll be unleashing some more things, but was this helpful to you today? Donna says, yes, effective. Be effective, not busy. Yes, effective. Yes. So that's part of my mission. Like, what happens in me in 2014 was just a seed. It was a start. I had to say goodbye to some things so that this part-time business that I've been running, it's about to be full-time, y'all. It's about to be deeper and wider because I want to help more women. I want to celebrate more women. I want to do more of what I'm doing and going into organizations and even helping them to understand their purpose from the inside out and help their teams come together and build better strategies. That's my mission. It's my purpose. It's the thing that I'm saying hello to louder and stronger than I ever have before. And so I am so grateful for you for being on this. What are you willing to say goodbye to so that you can have a greater hello in this coming season of your life? What are your goodbyes so that you can embrace the hellos? You may not be able to answer it on this, but it's definitely something that I want you to take with you. I want you to answer it for yourself between you and God, and give yourself permission to take your power back and choose. Because I think God himself has given us the pens to endorse the permission slips that he's already endorsed. He's given us the power. It's our time to take it and not use the excuse of I'm waiting on God. Because my friends, I want you to hear me. There are some goodbyes that are God goodbyes that he's given you the power to close the door so that you can embrace and appreciate the hellos that he has for you. And it would be so easy for him to just do it for us, but there's a greater level of faith that he wants to work in us and through us. Remember that statement I said, give faith a job. And so I hope that this challenged the mess out of you. I hope that it challenged you in a good way to look at your life and look at the additions, the subtractions, and the exchanges that are necessary so that you can embrace this gift of goodbye. And that is the next level of your potential. If you got something out of this, share it. Share it more. Keep choosing. And if you are interested in coming to this workshop, I'm offering a special this month. I'm offering a special. It's $50 for you to come to the workshop, and you'll get the workbook, you'll get the interaction, you'll get the coaching, you'll get the networking, you'll get the fellowship, you'll get so much more. You'll get so much. But I'm ready. Are you? All right. Tyra says, can't get this from a Bible bookstore, LOL. Thank y'all so much. I'm going to sign off now, but thank you. If you're watching the replay, continue to, you can type in the comment because I'm going to come back and check, and I'm going to go back and read the comments for any questions that I didn't get a chance to answer. But ladies, this is our time. And that's all I'm going to say. Take that gift of goodbye and use it. Signing off. Bye, y'all.